Hello and welcome back to the LHS MLB Podcast. This is part 3. We have Mike and Ryan here in the studio with us. Just a few quick questions for them. Number 1, what do you think the biggest issue is plaguing the MLB today?
Well, I think the biggest issue plaguing the MLB is the pitch count.
The pitch count or pitch clock?
Pitch clock.
Pitch clock. Okay, I was about to say, because pitch count's been in there for a while. But
that's true, but
the clock, what do you think about the clock? Because it's not even officially in the regular season yet. They're only trying it in the preseason.
Yeah, well, I watched some spring training games, and the 20-second clock, it's just not enough time for the pitchers to get ready and get their signs.
So what you're saying is the pitcher is at more of a disadvantage than the hitter is.
Yes.
So you think even with the batter only having 20 seconds to get his mentality right in the at-bat, that it's still on the pitcher's bad end?
Yeah, for the pitcher, because a lot of the times when the pitchers got up there, it was down to at least 5 seconds before they even started their windup.
So another thing, I kind of going to have to agree with you, but I don't think that's the biggest issue. I do think it is an issue today, but one thing that I don't like that the MLB is doing is when you're watching a game, I was watching spring training this weekend as well, and they didn't have the clock on the scoreboard, like on the screen. It wasn't there. You just kind of had to estimate where it was. They didn't show you how much time they had. I think if they did that, I could start to follow it more, because I don't know all the rules behind it. I don't know if it's when the pitcher toes the rubber or he receives the ball back from the catcher, or I don't understand any of that. Do you have anything to say about that, Ryan?
Yeah, I've actually, when I was watching the spring training games, the clock is actually behind the catcher. So, in the pitcher's point of view, he can see the clock back there. And the clock starts when the pitcher receives the ball.
When he receives, so it's not when he toes the rubber. So it's essentially by the time he toes the rubber, he only has 8 to 10 seconds to pitch.
Yeah, he only has maximum 10 seconds.
So, all right, I don't think that's very fair, but I'm still going to have to disagree with you. I don't think it's the biggest issue. I do think the MLB can implement it better, and it won't be such an issue, but I don't think it's the biggest one. Personally, I think the biggest one is contracts, and especially with Machado and Harper now. Machado is making $61,000 an hour, $300 million in 10 years. I think that is an issue that is becoming far too much, and Bryce Harper is going to be the next person to receive something like that. I think it's too much, and I think there's going to be a lockout in these next 5 years between players and owners. I don't know if you guys have anything to say about that. Drew, do you have anything to say about that?
I mean, I was just looking at the news this weekend. Sources say that Bryce Harper made a deal with the Phillies around $350 million for 8 to 10 years. I just think the way his contract is shaping out, what team he's going to be with, he's getting paid way too much for the position he's playing. I believe that he should possibly be less years, less money. Because if he gets hurt in the beginning of his contract, he's a liability for the team financially, and then there's a spot in that outfield that really is empty for the Phillies.
So how do you think the Nationals are going to move on without a leader like Bryce Harper and such a powerhouse he is in the clubhouse? Where do you think the Nationals are going to come out of that?
Well, I feel like the Nationals might just succeed with pitching-wise, because they still have Max Scherzer in there, and
But they don't have a strong bullpen. Their bullpen is...
That's true.
Kind of garbage fire,
yeah,
not gonna lie.
They
come in the 8th inning and blow 3-run leads. It's not a strong bullpen, and starting pitching can't get you that far all the time.
But with the Nationals, I mean, yes, they lost Harper, but if you think about it, they could have a young rookie in their farm league come up, play one season, be like a Gleyber Torres or a Nunez, and just completely blow the season. I mean, not blow the season, but he could just do amazing and be the new Harper in the outfield for the Nationals.
But what are the odds of that happening? It's not very likely.
Yeah, we never know. I mean, there's Gleyber Torres and Acuna Jr. last year for the Braves and the Yankees. You never know.
Yes,
there's always those young rookies in the farm system that could always just have a great season and then just be a star athlete for the rest of their career.
That's fair, but I don't think they'll pull someone up because they have Adam Eaton still. They still have Adam Eaton they can put there. They had 4 outfielders, and now they're down to 3 if Harper leaves. And all they got to do is just pull someone up, but don't have him start. Adam Eaton can go play right field where he is supposed to play. That was his position when he entered the league, and then he moved to center because of Harper.
About it, for the Nationals, they could sign Hunter Pence. He's playing in the Mexican League right now, but he's a free agent, so if the Nationals are always desperate...
He's a liability. He's a liability. He's too old. He can play, but he's too old, and he's injury-prone at this point.
I've been watching highlight videos of him. He's been rocking out in the Mexican League. I mean, his
the competition.
But it's the Mexican League. The competition
is
isn't the
nowhere
same.
near,
It's
yeah.
not professional baseball.
Yeah, but that's why you sign him for like a 1 or 2 year contract, start him on AAA, see how he does there, and then if he does good, pull him up. And if he doesn't, then after the 1 or 2 years, he becomes a free agent again, goes back to the Mexican League.
The Nationals just need to do a full rebuild. They need to trade away some of their older guys like Eaton, who, I mean, to be honest, how much time does he have left?
After
I mean,
coming out of injury last year.
Yeah, he's already probably in his 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well trade away some of those guys, if anything, and try to rebuild your team. I mean,
So do you think Trey Turner is now going to step up and become like a big part of the clubhouse? He kind of was, but he's still that young guy. Do you think he can come in, and if Harper leaves, do you think he can fill those shoes?
he can try to fill those shoes, but unless Trey Turner steps it up with his power gains and really consistency, there's no way Trey Turner's going to be able to take over the team and really control it, because he's a slap hitter. I mean, he really doesn't generate much power and has a low average. So
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about the Yankees. I know you guys are Yankee fans, but what do you think is going to come out of the AL East now this year with the addition of Oviedo to their bullpen? What do you think is going to happen now? Do you think they have the most dominant pitching in the MLB, like people considered the Red Sox to have last year? And now
don't forget you have Paxton also as a starting pitcher.
Yeah, now they have Paxton as a starting pitcher. Do you think they have the most dominant pitching rotation and bullpen in the league, or do you think it's going to somewhat still fall apart?
Well, I think that the Yankees definitely have the most dominant closing staff in the whole entire league.
Mhm.
I don't think anyone can touch them once they get past that.
But they have to be on. Zach Britton is dominant probably 85, 90% of the time. Aroldis Chapman, on the other hand,
He struggled, yes.
it's daily. He can be 100% on the game. No one can touch him.
But
And then
also-
there's times where they have to pull him out, and he's the closing pitcher. That's
Yeah.
not. You don't want that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
also you think about it, the Yankees do have amazing pitching. We also have to think about their division rivals, the Red Sox. I mean, Craig Kimbrell, yes, he's a free agent, but if they sign him, they still have Price, they have a Sale, an amazing starting lineup, and mid-relief with Kelly. I mean,
Kelly's not on the Red Sox anymore, dude.
No.
Kelly's on the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Kelly signed somewhere else.
Oh, well, then the Yankees have it in the bag. Then I did not
Yeah.
know
You,
that.
you really think the loss of Joe Kelly is enough to put the Yankees in
Well, I mean,
take the American League East?
Well, also the Red Sox don't have Kimbrel. I don't see them making any moves yet. Because, I mean, spring training started. Kimbrel's still not on a team. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Well, neither is Dallas Keuchel.
Yeah.
Keuchel isn't signed anywhere. Do you really think it's going to be a change at all?
I mean, I don't think. Well, for the Red Sox, yes, it's going to be a big change with losing. I mean, they lost a big chunk of their pitching staff overall, so I feel like offensively they're still a great team hitting wise, and I'd say what really made them better than all the other teams is they were consistent every time they got a hit. Yankees, they can hit, don't get me wrong, but they were sporadic. I mean,
Yeah.
we had games where we beat the Red Sox because, I mean, our guys just hit home runs after home runs, but then we had games where the Red Sox just shut us down with, like, Rick Porcello and stuff. He's a decent pitcher. He's not even that good, but, I mean, he's decent, but he just shut down our team, and especially with our pitching struggles in the beginning, especially since...
I don't even think your pitching struggles are the big thing. I think it's your catching struggles. You guys don't have
Yeah.
a solid catcher anymore. Gary Sanchez
Yeah.
is now a liability, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I think that he has now become injured so many times. I think, and his lack of hustle, as we saw last year, they benched
Yeah.
him, but put an injury over it so it didn't look that bad. I think that was all a sham. I think they just benched him because he didn't hustle. But now you guys got to find a solid catcher within these next 2-3 years because Gary Sanchez does not have that much left in the tank.
we have
Yeah.
Austin Romine, but he's also becoming a liability because he's starting to age out kind of, and he's kind of getting a little stiff. I mean, yes, when he was replacing Gary Sanchez in the season last year, he did great hitting and defensively, but with the upcoming years, he's going to start getting old, and he's not going to become as athletic as he is now.
I mean, I wish that the Yankees had picked up JT Realmuto or whatever his name is.
Yeah, from Miami.
Yeah, from Miami, because he was a free agent this year.
Yeah, that
But-
was probably the biggest sign. I wouldn't call it the biggest sign, but I'd say it was the most undernamed, underpaid signing. I think that was probably one of the biggest moves we're going to see in these next few years. Because after last year's offseason, this year's offseason, at this rate, no one's going to sign until they get the $400 million.
Yeah, I mean, especially with, you have Trout's
Trout stays in Los Angeles. There's no doubt about it. Trout won't play for the money. Trout's going to play because he likes the game, and he's going to stay in Los Angeles.
He's a great player and all, but I feel like Trout will get offered. He'll break the $500 million mark.
You think Trout will break the $500 million mark?
Easy. Trout is easily the best player out there.
Los Angeles has already talked to Trout. I mean, Trout's not even a free agent, and Los Angeles is making sure that he will stay no matter what. Yes, he made the deal with Ohtani last year, but Los Angeles is preparing.
And that flopped.
Los Angeles is preparing their payroll to make a humongous deal for Mike Trout to make sure that he does not leave LA.
I mean, he has 2 years left, and with the way he's playing, his skills are beyond anyone else. I mean, everyone else has hot streaks, and Trout is always hot. There's no off time for Trout, especially with the way he plays. And I feel like he's been with the team at least 8 to 10 years with the Angels, and he's played in 3 playoff games. That's just sad for the Angels organization. I feel like Trout might sacrifice all his friends and his teammates, all their friendships together just to get playoff time, because
I think he deserves it at this point.
Yeah.
Last thing, we got a few minutes here. We got to wind this down.
Playoff predictions.
What do you think is going to happen? Do you think the Padres move with Manny Machado will be enough, or do you have something else in mind?
I don't think the Padres moves with Manny Machado will be enough, because Manny Machado, he's good defensively, and he has good offensive stats, but it really just seemed like Machado is not a very team player. He's a really all about him player, because especially when it came down to the big moments, it was just either a home run or a strikeout with Machado.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that. All right, Ryan, do you think the Machado move to San Diego was enough to put this team in the playoffs?
I think it was. I think it wasn't too. It wasn't the greatest move. It's not going to help them get to the playoffs and
this year,
win it this year,
next 2 years,
or the next 2 years. No, because
it's one player on a.
It's one player. They do have a good hitting. Their lineup, I saw it wasn't bad. They had a couple. Then a couple returners, but just Manny Machado is not going to be enough to push them over the edge.
Yeah.
I
agree with you.
He's good defensively, and then offense, he has his hot streaks and he has his lows.
I think he has more cold streaks than he does hot streaks. Do you agree with that statement?
I do agree with that statement. Most of the time, he is striking out. And then maybe every once in a while, he'll hit a home run. But you never really see in the captions, Machado hits clutch home run.
Yeah.
That's not when it comes to the line. I just don't think he's going to be able to do it.
You don't think he's gonna? Do you think he's gonna be able to? I think he'll be able to form the superstar role in San Diego. Only looking at their names, I don't think they have enough big players. Do you think he'll be able to take the leadership role in San Diego?
I do not. I've seen him on multiple teams, and he's just not a team player. Between the multiple spiking people and just not really team player. He's only out for himself, really, and the only reason he went to Padres was for the money.
Yeah.
I don't think he's into the game. I think he's just in there for the money.
I agree with you. I agree with that statement. Do you have anything to say about that, Drew?
Like I was saying before, yes, he's a star athlete. He'll probably do great things in San Diego, but there's no way that one player can change a whole team's outcome for a season. Yes, he'll maybe add some runs during some games, win a couple more games than they would in the regular season, but overall, making playoffs-wise, I don't think he'll make that big of a difference coming in this upcoming season.
I'm going to have to agree with that statement. I don't think this is enough for the Padres to actually make a move into the postseason. I don't even think they make wild card this year. I feel like this is honestly just a rebuilding year for them, and that it's not enough. But anyways, that's it for the LHS MLB podcast. I'm Aaron.
I'm Drew.
I'm Ryan. I'm Michael.
Thank you guys for listening.